Good evening. I'm Adam Cushing, candidate for Ward 4. I want to thank the Brighton Youth Commission and Chamber of Commerce for hosting us, and thank everybody for coming. I've been a Colorado resident for nearly 40 years. I've lived in Brighton for 13. Been on our HOA board of directors for 6 years and the president of the HOA for 3. Have a wife, Shanna. We've been married for 23 years, and I have 4 kids. So I'm a senior level IT consultant in my professional world. Basically what I do is I work with businesses, their mid-level management, C-level executives. They kind of tell me what they think the problems are. Oftentimes I go out in the field, I talk to the people who turn the wrenches and actually do the work, and I find out what the actual problem is. And then we come back and we end up having a pretty decent conversation about how to solve those problems. So I feel like that gives me a pretty unique skill set and perspective that can kind of help with city government. I think that kind of problem-solving mentality is something that we're kind of missing at this point, and going out and actually seeing, putting eyes on things and finding out what's going wrong is a really critical part to figure out what to do to fix it. Prior to that experience doing IT consulting, I actually did 911 call center installations, which was kind of another interesting perspective that I had working with government agencies and trying to implement solutions to improve their public safety systems. There's a lot of concerns right now in Brighton: water, public transportation growth. I think I'm prepared to jump in with 2 feet and find out what needs to be done to improve these things and get them done. The division is a big concern of mine. It's another reason why I ran for city council. And I think with better transparency and city council members working together, we can really get a lot done. Thank you. So going to city council meetings and even being on an HOA board, I've often noticed that a lot of people don't tend to participate in those resources until they're upset about something. And I think one thing that contributes to that is that we're not communicating with people in the ways they communicate, especially when we get into dealing with younger generations. Social media is a reality of how a lot of people communicate, and I think we've done a lot of neat things with newsletters and print media, but it's really critical that the message gets out to people on a regular basis on the ways they actually communicate, so they don't find themselves getting frustrated that they don't understand what's going on in the city. Are things getting done? Are projects being canceled? Why are they being canceled? All of those things are really important for people to know, and we just need to do a better job getting that out there. Facebook, Instagram, all those mediums that people use. Thank you. So one thing I think Brighton's done a pretty good job of is bringing in a lot of big chains and restaurants and stores into our community. But I don't think we've done a good enough job balancing that out with encouraging and incentivizing small businesses. And small local businesses, the owners of those businesses, they live here, they spend their money here, they raise their families here. It's really critical that we do more to encourage more of those businesses. I think we need to do more to revitalize downtown. I've heard ideas from constituents ranging from, maybe putting a pedestrian mall down there, various other ideas, but I really do think we need to do more to incentivize businesses and get more local and just make downtown a vibrant place in our community. What do I like most about Brighton? There's a few things. I like the 27J School District. They've done a lot to support my family and my children. I think they do a good job with the limited resources that they have, and they really care about the children, do everything they can for the community. Our first responders, I think we have an excellent police department, fire. I think everyone there really cares about the community and really does everything they can to be community oriented. I love the local businesses in Brighton. There's a lot of great restaurants and great shops, and it's just nice to live in a city the size of Brighton that feels like a small town. Thank you. So the number one thing that's affecting health in Brighton, in my opinion, is some of the issues with traffic that have resulted from the growth in our city. We've had some pretty bad accidents in this city, deaths. We've had a school bus accident. We've got a proposal for an aggregate mining plant to go in along Highway 7 that's going to introduce a lot of truck traffic on that highway that's already got a lot of traffic. And I just think that we need to do a lot more to proactively address some of those issues. I know there's been some concern about 120th, and 120th isn't, technically a City of Brighton street, and there's some interagency issues there, and I think we need to work as City Council to bring those agencies in and discuss, how we can solve these problems, because we can't just sit on this and wait until there's, more accidents and more issues. Thank you. So obviously hiring a city manager is going to be something really critical for the next City Council. As someone who works in the private sector, well, it's a entirely different set of qualifications. I generally am put in the position of hiring IT managers, IT directors, and I think some of that perspective can help in this process. I also think with the city manager, it's really going to be critical to have a peer review process where their department heads and their staff can review them, so we can really get a full understanding of what's going right and what's not going right. It's one of the few employees that report to City Council, and it's really important that we get this right and that we manage that properly. I mean, with historic downtown, I think I mentioned that I'm a big supporter of that, but it's really going to be critical to bring in more businesses, because if there aren't businesses down there, then there isn't really a downtown. The parking situation, it's kind of funny because I go out to some of the stores in Prairie Center, Target, Home Depot. I see people walking across these giant parking lots, and the walk from the parking lots adjacent to downtown are the same or less than those parking lots. So trying to cram all the cars on Main Street is part of the issue, and trying to separate that a little bit more, having more of a patios and places where people can gather downtown and have restaurants and eat and enjoy the downtown area. That's really critical. So it's interesting, as city council candidates, we don't have much of a say. We have one vote, kind of the same as everybody does. My concern about this recall is that we had a 5-4 vote to fire the city manager. And so we're going to have a city council that's going to have to appoint a new mayor. And I'm really concerned what that process is going to look like. We've already got a pretty divided city council, and I think it's going to become more divided when they're faced with this task to do that. And, we'll be there, I guess, to pick up the pieces from that next year. One of us, will be, whoever's elected. Personally, I won't be voting in favor of the recall. I'm against it, but, whatever happens, we'll do our best. I think really we need to put that stuff behind us and work to fix the things that people are upset about. I can understand that people are frustrated, but we really just need to get down to business, roll our sleeves up, and fix the problems that people are frustrated about. Well, I'll start. Growth is tough. It's definitely critical that we spend a lot of our efforts directing it and managing it to meet our goals and needs, and taking into account water, taking into account, when we work with developers, that water rights are part of those developments, and that's a consideration. I know City Council has been pretty aware of that issue and make sure that water rights are purchased when a lot of these developments go in. But yeah, we just have to make sure when we bring these developments to the table that all of those issues are considered. I'm Adam Cushing for Ward 4, and I've talked about my background. I work in Denver. I have a family of 4. I live in this community and work in this community, and I think I can bring a good perspective to help solve problems. My commitment is to bring better transparency. People want to know what's going on in terms of projects, what's being done, what isn't being done, why it isn't being done. I commit to encourage better communication from the city. The city project dashboard is a good start, but we really need to do a better job getting that message out to everybody so they know timelines, budget status, cause for delays, completion rates. And my commitment is that I will work to bring that. I will go to, get involved in things and learn about issues like we're talking about RTD, we're talking about the aggregate pit. They don't directly affect our city, but the more we learn as city council members. Thank you.